Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Salatu wassalamu ala Rasulullah. So we are on page number 71. Page 71, verse number 74 in chapter number 6. Yeah, in chapter number 6, which is the chapter is called The Cattle. Inshallah. So in these next few verses, we'll discuss the story of Ibrahim alayhi salam. Ibrahim alayhi salam is considered as the father of these great religions, Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. And in fact, the title Allah gives for Ibrahim alayhi salam is Khalilullah. Khalil is the friend of Allah. So imagine Allah is calling a human being as a friend. And in fact, if you go to Mecca, in front of the Kaaba, the Masjid al-Haram, which is the main masjid, in front of that masjid, there's a street called Ibrahim al-Khalil Road. In fact, that road is very famous. That's where thousands of pigeons you will find, and you will find a lot of shops over there. So the story of Ibrahim resonates in Old Testament, New Testament, and in the Quran, and in a very respectful way. And we have discussed Ibrahim alayhi salam in many different places. Before I begin, also I want to highlight that when Prophet went on Isra al-Miraj, he met Ibrahim alayhi salam. Ibrahim alayhi salam, his face looked exactly like a Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. They looked exactly identical. And the Prophet is the descendant of Ibrahim alayhi salam. His son was Ishmael, and that's how the descendant actually spread in the Arabia. The people of the Arabia, I'm referring here, that land, they actually respected Ibrahim alayhi salam, although they were statue worshippers before the revelation of the Quran, but they actually felt they are the descendant of Ibrahim alayhi salam. They admired him, they actually felt they are the followers of Ibrahim alayhi salam. And in fact, when the people were statue worshippers, many of the people they were trying their best to strictly follow what they knew about Ibrahim alayhi salam. They were not following the polytheistic ideas. They were not worshipping any statues. Also, I want to make a side note here. None of the prophets ever were polytheistic before the revelation. Never, ever happened. Allah protected all the prophets. So when Ibrahim alayhi salam was not a prophet, or when Moses was not a prophet, or when Rasulullah Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was not a prophet, they never followed anything, or they never did any shirk. Just want to highlight that one, because some of the conversation which is going to come up, you say, well, was he believing sun is a god or stars are god? No. This is a way to show to the community, and I'm going to go dig deeper into that community, where that community was and why he's saying these things, to show to that particular community the sun sets, cannot be a god. Stars disappear in the morning, cannot be god. So, and because they had a specific god associated with each one of those belief systems. So I'm going to start with the verse number 74. Verse 74 says, and remember means Allah is reminding the people of Mecca that you already knew this. Allah is reminding them, remember, when Abraham said to his father was Azar, guess what? What was his profession? Anybody knows? Shepherd. He was an idol maker. The Ibrahim alayhi salam's father was an idol maker. Imagine Abraham is born in a family, he is in that profession. And his father, and still he's being respectful. When in the conversation you'll see in a different part of the Quran, he's saying, Ya abati, oh my dear father, oh my dear father. He's still, why you're doing this? Why you're worshiping things making things your own hand and worshiping those things? So that's a conversation. And father actually said, I'm going to kill you. I'm going to literally kill you. So, that's the discussion so he said, do you take idols as gods? He's asking his father. It is clear to me that you and your people are entirely misguided. So he's asking, why do you make things with your own hands? You buy things from Brookhurst, from a Hindu store. You bring it home and you worship these things. It doesn't make any sense. And doesn't matter, you bring a statue of Mary, peace be upon her, or Jesus, peace be, and you say, I don't worship these. This is the spirit behind it. It doesn't matter what, it doesn't make any sense. So here, just want to highlight that the creedal mentioning, and that's what this workshop will happen about the creed. Ibrahim alayhi salam was very significant because for almost all the people of the Arabia, they accepted him as a guide and the leader. Even people who were statue worshippers, polytheistic people, they knew he was the guide and the leader. They loved and respected him. And they knew they are the descendants of Ibrahim alayhi salam. Especially the Quraysh were the family and the tribe over there, were very proud of being descendant of Ibrahim alayhi salam. So that's why Allah is revealing this particular verse here, is reminding them, don't you remember? He told this to his father. And the keepers of the Kaaba, and they knew Ibrahim alayhi salam rebuilt the Kaaba. They were the key. By the way, the same family who had the key to the Kaaba door, the same family still has the key to the Kaaba door. In fact, when the Makkah was conquered, that individual who had the key, he was not Muslim. Rasulullah refused to take the key, possession of the key from him. And later on, they became Muslim, and they have the same descendant. So from Ibrahim alayhi salam to now, the same family has the key. You can go online and you can look at who actually has the key.
I have a picture of the key because I got it into my house.
Yeah.
One of the keys and the copies. This is the whole. Yeah. Actually, it's a really subhanallah. There's some verses in the Quran, like beautiful Arabic calligraphy on the top, and it's how it's restored, protected in a case, and they call it the Banu Shayba, the ones that take care of the key. They got one to Turkey through the Ottoman Empire. The Khalifa took one copy, and that's what we got. And subhanAllah, that organization is using the key just to collect money to help orphanage.
And the most important church in Christianity in Jerusalem, who has the key of the church? A Muslim family.
Yes.
A Muslim family opens that church every single morning and closes in the nighttime. Because they trust that family. Because I've been to that church in Jerusalem. You will find Coptic, you'll find Russian Orthodox, you'll find Catholic, you'll find all these different groups and different places sitting in a church. They hate each other. They feel they are the right ones, the other ones the wrong ones. They used to fight and kill each other. So they still trust the key of the church to the Muslim family. And you still go and you will be amazed that. So anyway, so Prophet Ibrahim was born in Iraq, and the city is called Ur, Ur. And this is the city. Different people say this is about 2100 CE, which is about 4,000 plus years ago. So he was born about 4,000 plus years ago, 4,000, about 125, 130 years ago. And the population of Ur in Iraq at that particular city was about 250,000 to 500,000. Most of the historians say it's about 250,000. But some historians say it went all the way to 500,000 population. And in 1935, one of the British archaeologists, he actually, his name was Sir Leonard Woolley. He actually dug that entire area and he found the remnants. He found all the information in that city. And he wrote a book also called Abraham in 1935, and you can read, and it's a very famous book. During the archaeology, they found not only the population, they found some of the remnants of the statues. They found all the scriptures, the names of these statues as well. So I just want to highlight a few things here. So just for you to understand. So the tablets they recovered from Ur mentioned names about 5,000 gods. So they had 5,000 different gods. Their names were mentioned in these tablets. Each city has its own god. Each town has its own god. Each practice had its own god. And there was a special deity assigned to each one of those things. So the chief god, there was a chief god, the main god, or the city god was entitled to greater reverence. So the main god had a higher status. And I'm going to give you the name of that one as well, just in a bit. So remember, there are big gods and there are small gods. The city god was Nanar, N-A-N-N-A-R. That was the name of the main god, the chief god, Nanar. And that Nanar was the moon god. That was the moon god. And some Arabs, they call it Qamariya also. Qamar is the moon, and the Qamariya, that's the name of the god. So the idol of Nanar had been kept in a grand shrine. Now this is like a palace. It's like a palace you cannot imagine at that time, 4,000 years ago. So in the higher mountain in Iraq, on the top of the mountain, this shrine, this palace, this is where Nanar exists. And built on the highest peak at Ur and near at the sanctuary of his wife Ningil, N-I-N-G-I-L, had been built. The shrine of Nanar was just like a royal palace where every night a different, listen to this very carefully guys, and you're going to find same kind of commonality in some of the Western cultures under the way of life, under the freedom, do whatever you want. So here, every single night, a new virgin lady from that town, from that city, would go. She would become a bride of Nanar, the statue. And she is supposed to lose her virginity on that particular night. This happened every single night. There lived a large number of women in the shrine who had been dedicated to this god Nanar, and their position was no better than religious prostitutes. They would go as virgins, very young, 13, 14, 15, 16, very young. The woman who would have sacrificed her virginity in the name of God was regarded very respectable. The common belief was that woman must surrender herself at least once in her lifetime to another man. Who are these men? The people, the custodians of that shrine. These are the pimps. These are the people, they say, you need to come and sacrifice your virginity for this God. And a lifetime to another in the way of God in order to attain salvation. This is how you will be saved. This is obviously the people to benefit most from this religious prostitution were the male priests themselves living over there. This is how people are programmed to think, like reveal yourself. Men go to the party, they're fully dressed in suits. Women, they're hardly wearing anything. This is the way of life. You want to be accepted in the society, you need to reveal yourself. This is exactly what they did in Nanar, to the statue Nanar in the city of Ur. And so this particular dynasty which was ruling over Ur in the name of Prophet Abraham had been founded by Ur-Nammu about 2300 BC, which is CE, established a vast empire which extended to Susa, Susa is Lebanon, east of Lebanon, and received its title of Namu, which became Namrud in Arabic later on. So Nanar, Namu, Namrud. This word is mentioned in the Quran and Islamic history many times, and even Christian history as well. So Namrud was the dynasty, just like Pharaoh. Pharaoh was not one individual, it was a dynasty. People going through, just like China, we have these different dynasties. So Namrud was one of the dynasties. So then they had many disasters. When they reached that level of disobeying, and then they had many disasters. So downfall was hastened by the destruction of the Ur and the capture of Namrud, along with the idol of Nanar, and the people were basically devastated. The entire area was devastated. And the last blow was dealt by Babylon. Babylon was another dynasty, and the city later on, which was an Arab dynasty, and this Ur city was destroyed completely. Just wanted to give you the background on this one. One time, Ibrahim alayhis salam went to this particular palace where Nanar was, and there were many smaller idols. Because remember, there are 5,000 different gods, they believed. So what he did, he took an axe or some kind of tool, and he destroyed the bigger idol. And when people came in the morning, they saw their big statue, big god is completely devastated, destroyed. And they said, we know this young man, he has been talking against these idols. We're going to capture this young man, Ibrahim alayhis salam. They brought him, and they said, did you do this? He said, no, I saw these smaller statues, they were destroying the big statue. They said, no, that's not possible. These statues can't even do anything. And then why do you worship them? Do you see the logic he put there? He said, why do you worship these things that can't even move, can't even do anything? So it's a very famous story. Just wanted to put that one in perspective. So message of the Prophet Abraham was not only clearly stuck at the root of idol worship, but also hit hard upon the sovereignty of the worship of the royal dynasty. It is already happening in our nation here. I don't want to mention the name because I will be blocked, but it is already happening in our nation as well. Social and economic and political state of the system they develop, and nobles, our senators and congressmen, nobles and our billionaires, they have this collective lifestyle. They say this is our way of life. You'll hear George Bush after 9/11, they are against our way of life. This is a common theme. This is the same common theme was established at that time as well. That we have developed this lifestyle, way of life. We want these virgins to lose their virginity in our shrines. This is still happening in Hindus' temples. This is very common, just for you to understand this one. Just wanted to give you the background on this one before I read the next verses, because next verses, he's going to question, Ibrahim alayhi salam is going to question, how come you can worship the sun and the moon and the star? Doesn't make any sense. So verse number 75, he says, we also showed Abraham the wonders of the heavens and the earth, so he would be sure in faith. When he was a very young man, he had a logical brain. He's thinking and trying to prove to the community, this is all irrelevant. So 76, when the night grew darker upon him, he saw a star and said, this is my Lord. Because they had a statue associated with the stars. They said, this is the God of the stars. But when it set, he said, I do not love things that set. He's trying to prove a point. 77. When he saw the moon rising, he said, this one is my Lord. But when it disappeared, he said, if my Lord does not guide me, I will certainly be one of the misguided people. Remember the Kamariya, the moon god? He's trying to prove a point. The stars disappear, the moon disappears, the sun disappears. That cannot be my God. Then when he saw a sun shining, he said, this must be my Lord. It is the greatest. But again, when it said, he declared, oh my people. Now remember, he's addressing directly to the people of Ur. Oh my people, I totally reject whenever you associated with God in worship. He's trying to create this sarcastic, this rhetorical question back on their faces that these things cannot be worshipped. How can you eat the dropping of a cow, put it in your face and drink the urine of cow and say, this is my God? How can you do that? You work in a Silicon Valley, you say, I have a PhD and I have a this and that, and you drink the cow urine. One of your family members visits India and you request to bring urine of cow and you have in your fridge and you drink it. I know personally, my Hindu friend, his mom got a cancer. They said the only treatment is send her to India and she will drink urine every day, eat the cow dropping, and she'll heal the cancer. She almost died, then brought her back in an emergency back. This is, people believe this kind of stuff. So number 79, I have returned my face towards the one who has originated the heavens and the earth. Being upright, I am not one of the polytheists. So he's telling the people, all this thing is absolutely unacceptable. So a person uses his brain and eyes rightly, and hopefully he has some opening in his or her heart. If your heart has little opening, you will understand alcohol does not help you. Drugs do not help you. Sex with multiple partners do not help you. It causes depression and anxiety. It makes you sad. Just one time high for a few minutes, guess what? You have a hangover after that one. That's what our religion is. keep yourself clean in every way possible. So Allah is here recommending you to use your eyes and brain, even if the person born and bred in that society. It doesn't matter you were born in this society. At least your logic. You slept with these people. What benefit? All you feel is sad now. So Islam gives you the clean lifestyle. Islam gives you the lifestyle which is healthy, which is good for you. So logical train of thought must exist in order to be understand God, in order to understand the purpose of your life. So it was he was a child at that time, Ibrahim alayhi salam, very young person, maybe a teenager, when he was arguing with the people of the earth. He did not see the stars, the moon, and the sun set as a particular occasion. And you might argue, well, why did he say those things when he was a teenager, when a young man? He didn't see the stars and moon. Imagine the Newton. When the Newton saw the apple is dropping, he must have seen millions of times other things dropping towards the ground as well. How come it didn't trigger earlier? Because there's always a time and space for everything. I knew there's a gravity here, but how come he was able to document it at a specific time? Because there's a time and space for everything. So yeah, some scholars say, why he didn't say that when he was 5 years old or 7 years old or 10 years old? Because there's a time and space for everything. Because Allah actually gives that kind of understanding to certain people at certain time. So I'm going to move forward. Just wanted to make sure that I didn't miss anything. Just want to highlight that this particular event, the Prophet Ibrahim's event describing has not been mentioned in the Bible or Old Testament, New and Old Testament. This particular event of stars, worshipping stars and all these things. However, Talmud is a book which is a collection of articles and history for Jewish people. It's not the Old Testament. It's not what was revealed to Moses alayhi salam. And it mentions, but the sequence is different. The Talmud actually provides the same event. The sequence is different. It actually starts from the sun to the stars and to the God. In Islam, in the Quran, it's the stars, the moon, and the sun. So they have an opposite sequence. Just want to highlight that one. And also Talmud says that when he said about the sun, this is my Lord, he worshipped the sun. Remember, in Islam, we do not believe this at all. No prophets ever worshipped anything else other than God, even when they were not prophets. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, there's no documented evidence ever that before age of 40 he worshipped anything else. There were people in Mecca, not only the Prophet, a bunch of other people, they believed the creed of the Ibrahim alayhi salam. They never believed any other statues, never worshipped anything else. Same thing with other prophets as well. So Talmud is incorrect in this one, that he actually worshipped sun at that time. We do not believe such a thing exists. I'm going to move forward with 79. I have turned my face towards the one who has originated heavens and the earth, being upright, and I'm not one of the polytheists. I already mentioned that one. Number 80, and his people argued with him. He responded, are you arguing with me about God while he has guided me? I was talking to Jordan. I was talking to other people. When you're guided, doesn't matter who argues with you. Don't give up. Stay steadfast. Stay strong. Stick to the community. If you make yourself absent from here or other communities or other programs, there's a chance you will be sucked into the same kind of lifestyle. So stick to the community. This is, even if you come and sit here, learn nothing, your presence will make you strong, will make you steadfast. So here he's saying, Allah has guided me. I'm not afraid of whatever idols you associate with him. We don't curse any idols. We don't curse any one of things Hindus or Buddhists or Christians believe. We don't curse them. We respect whatever books they believe. but at the same time we disagree with them. It is okay to disagree the lifestyle people are living, but we don't say in a foul language. So none can harm me unless my Lord so wills. My Lord encompasses everything in his knowledge. Will you not be mindful? Don't you think about it? Don't you think? Doesn't make any sense. Don't you think occasional drinking or drinking whenever you feel like it, your fridge is full of beer, don't you think it's not very helpful? So you question those things. You don't force your family members and throw all of their beer. Don't do that. But at least invite them in a best way possible. I know it's not easy for people who are like you, who are new Muslim, but at least present in a way which makes sense to them. A lot of people I meet, they have no belief system. They grew up in this society. They say, I never believed in Trinity. Why don't you research that? Why don't you think about it? I had two students from PhD students came on Friday. I was spending time with them. I questioned the same thing. You are so educated. Why don't you think a person who uses the bathroom is a son of God? Doesn't make any sense. Think about it. So here, and how should I fear your associate gods while you have no fear in associating others with God? A practice he has never authorized, which side has more right to security? Tell me if you really know. So these are the argument he's presenting to the people of Ur, the people of that society. Very logical. He's saying that, don't you think that this doesn't even make any sense? So he's presenting in a very respectful manner. By the way, how many followers Ibrahim alayhi salam had? He's the father of these Abraham religions, considered as one of the greatest human being ever created. Of course, all the prophets were wonderful. One of the most amazing person. In fact, that's the person I always look forward to meeting him, inshallah. He's the individual. There's a space before Jannah. There's a place in Jannah. All the kids before maturity, when they die, they are in that space. He's the custodian of that space. None of the people, none of the children who die at early age before maturity, they will go to hell at all. They are in the custody of Ibrahim alayhi salam. He's the father of those children. He's taking care of them. So this is an individual who has such a high status. He's putting these questions for those individuals. Guess what? In his lifetime, probably we do not find any documentation he had any followers. Any followers whatsoever. Like Jesus had maybe 36 or so disciples. We can count at the time of the last Hajj, the Prophet only performed one Hajj. He had about 125,000 people attended that Hajj. Even if you include some of the other people who could not attend Hajj at that time, probably we are talking 200,000 to 250,000 Muslims at that time. And Noah alayhi salam, probably some people say 40 to 80 people. Abraham, we don't have any documentation that he had any followers. One of the greatest human beings. One of the most amazing human beings. When you go for Hajj, most of the steps you're following his steps or his wife's step. When you do Sa'i, which is between Safa and Marwa, that's what his wife did. When you slaughter an animal for day of Eid, that is because he tried to slaughter Ismail alayhi salam. When you go for Tawaf, that's what he did after he built the Kaaba. And Allah said, go on top of this mountain and call people for invitation for the visit, for the pilgrimage. He said, there's no one here, not even birds or animals. It's desert. Your job is to make a call. My job is to bring people. And after 4,000 years, when you go to Kaaba, many of you will go, inshallah. You go 2 a.m., 3 a.m., 4 a.m., 5 a.m., you go 12 p.m. Doesn't matter. There are 100, 200, 300, 400, a million people all the time. All the time. This is because of the call of the Ibrahim. Your job is to do it. Leave the legacy to Allah to fulfill. Allah will fulfill the legacy. You as an individual, me as an individual, you as sister as an individual, at least do your job. And I know we don't see the future, but Allah wants you to do something, like for Ibrahim alayhi salam. It is only those who are faithful and do not tarnish their faith with falsehood who are guaranteed security and rightly guided. 83. This was the argument we gave Ibrahim against his people. We elevate in rank whoever we please. Surely your Lord is all wise and all knowing. I think I have already highlighted. There are 3 verses, there are additional verses I was not planning to cover. I just want to cover, there are 17 prophets mentioned in next couple of verses. I will not spend too much time, but let me just go through 84. And we blessed him with Isaac. And Allah is going to show the Judaism line of lineage, and he's going to show the Islamic lineage as well separately. So Isaac was the son from Sarah. Isaac was the second son. Ishmael was the first son. But here the lineage of the Judaism is being shown. That's why it's mentioned here. And Jacob, Yaqub alayhi salam, which was the grandson of Ibrahim alayhi salam. Who was Yusuf alayhi salam? The son of Jacob, the great-grandson of Ibrahim alayhi salam. We guided them all as we previously guided Noah and those Nuh alayhi salam, and those among his descendants, David, Solomon. Solomon was the son of David, peace be upon both of them. Job, Joseph, Moses, and Aaron. This is how we reward the good doers. Likewise, we guided Zechariah, now Christianity lineage, Zechariah, John, Jesus, and Elias, who were all of the righteous. We also guided Ishmael. Here it's Elisha, Jonah, and Lot. And Lot was the nephew of Ibrahim alayhi salam. Lut alayhi salam, who was the people of the homosexual tradition. His people became homosexual. That was the first time in the humanity they became homosexual. That was the nephew. Favoring each other, the people of their time. And we favored some of their forefathers, their descendants, and their brothers. We chose them and guided them to the straight path. So you can see that not all the prophets are mentioned here, but at least 17 out of 25. 25 total people mentioned as prophets and messengers in the Quran. 17 are mentioned here. And so you'll see some other prophets are mentioned in other places as well. Inshallah, I'll stop here. Just wanted to make it short, inshallah. I'll take some questions.